many times a lot of atheists use an argument called divine hiddenness. Oh, very scary, but it's not. Because today I'm going to teach you how Christians can answer the divine hidden argument. Basically, divine hiddenness as an argument goes something along the lines of, well, if God, then why can't I see him? Why can't I see signs of God? And so on. Basically, lol, I cannot see, therefore not. So let's see how we Christians can deal with the argument. Slap it out of the way of the truth of Christ. The first way we can answer this is by saying that, well, God is not actually hidden. And so God can actually be seen, and God, the signs of God, can be seen constantly within nature and everywhere. And so God is in no way hidden. Of course, the atheist will say, well, what are these signs of God? And if they're not hidden, then why cannot I see them? So let's take a look. I mean, think about it like this. There's about 2 billion Christians on planet Earth. You think all of those people just believe without there being any signs, or magically out of thin air 2 billion people decided that Christ is king? No. People literally feel that they can feel the Holy Spirit when they go to church. They have even claim to have seen the Christ. Oh, and so we must ask, well, why could people feel such things, and why could people claim to have such religious signs and experiences of a God that wouldn't exist? I mean, it would seem quite impossible for people to feel such a way if such a God did not exist. Now, a lot of people, atheists, will say, well, psychology explains why people feel that. Aha, psychology. Yes, we can look at psychology and see that, well, these religious experiences, we experience them differently in our brains and so on. And that is why they feel different to everything else. And it's like, well, isn't that exactly what we would expect if there is a God? I mean, imagine a world where every experience, including religious ones and non-religious ones, were exactly the same and there was no psychological difference between them. You would instantly say, look, they're the same, therefore no God. But there is a difference, and that is clearly a sign that there is something different, that there might be a God. Now, what other signs of God can we see in nature? Well, we could look at evolution. Evolution is quite clearly a sign that there is maybe some hand of God touching us. If you think about it, evolution as a process should be completely random through gene mutation and genetic drift. But why can't we see regress? I mean, surely these genetical mutations that humans have and other species have, there is a much higher chance of them being negative than positive. You see, there is about 1 million ways a gene could mutate, causing it to be negative, not to progress but to regress in some way. And somehow we cannot see in nature that, that species just happened to get unlucky with mutations and regressed back into some weird blob. Like, we just don't see that. Because, well, it seems there is maybe the hand of God controlling this and guiding the process of evolution. Interesting thought now, isn't it? But truly, if you think that, well, evolution as a process is random, which it seems. Some scientists used to claim that, well, it's not random and evolution can be controlled by the environment, and so if we put people and species into an environment where they have a beneficial mutation, or there would be a mutation that is beneficial, that is more likely, but that has been proven to be wrong. With current scientific knowledge, evolution is supposed to be random. Random mutations. Genetic drift, all of this is supposed to be random. And then natural selection does the rest. But somehow, even though the chance of a good mutation is far smaller, 1 in a million, the chance of a bad mutation that could cause all kinds of bad things is about 10 million times more likely. We say, or every species seems to only evolve forward and never regress. How convenient. I mean, just think about it. Every generation where you have a progress, a mutation that is beneficial, any kind of progress at all, the likelihood is that the very next generation after that is gonna have some mutation that is non-beneficial, that is regressing the evolutionary process in a way where it is not beneficial for survival. So the very next generation, after any sense of progress, should have a higher chance of regressing in some way than progressing again, yet we don't see species going and then they crash down due to bad mutations. So it seems very likely that there is the hand of God or something guiding the process of evolution. So we can see the works of God in nature, we can see the works of God in us. And so how can you say that God is hidden when there are signs everywhere as long as you open your eyes? But hey, what is the other way that we can deal with the divine hiddenness problem? Even if we are to admit, okay, God is hidden. Or we can even think of it as, why doesn't God show up in front of you right now in some physical form? How do we answer that? And it could be that God has a good reason to not show himself. So the second way to deal with divine hiddenness is to say that God has a reason to be hidden. And what could these reasons be? Well, we could look at soul-building theodicy, greater good theodicy, all kinds of theodicies which would claim something along the lines of, well, we want to actually live a life apart from God, because then once we live the rest of eternity in the afterlife with God, we can be grateful for the presence of God. And so we could never be grateful for the presence of God if we were never apart from God. And so us to be apart from God is to secure that we can be grateful of God when we finally meet him, when we finally spend the rest of eternity with him. And so there is a good reason why God lets us be for this very short lifetime. And if you think about the cosmic universe and will compare it to the rest of the universe, it's a blink of an eye. Our lives are a blink of an eye in the cosmic reality. It is a blink of an eye compared to the eternity of at the afterlife. And so for us to say, but why doesn't God show himself? Well, it's just a blink of an eye. And if that blink of an eye means that the rest of eternity will be grateful and happy that yes, now we get to finally meet our Creator, isn't that a lot better? Isn't that the greater good? Isn't that soul building? Isn't that amazing? So God might have a good reason to be hidden. And those are basically the two ways a Christian can very easily answer divine hiddenness. Because, well, it's not very hidden, and if it is, then there's a good reason for it. You see, divine hiddenness is not a problem for a Christian. It is not a problem for basically anyone who opens their eyes. Boom. You see, after I did that, I just saw the Christ Almighty. You might wanna try it out. Wait, someone's calling. Oh yeah. Oh, that's interesting. It was Jesus. Jesus called me, and you know what he said? If you are one of the chosen ones, there might be a red button on your screen that says subscribe or something along the lines of that. And if you press that button, something might happen. Something magical. But it's not a guarantee, so I won't. That's not my legal statement. But anyway, thanks for watching and have a great day.